Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're journeying back in time to a dusty, quiet corner of New Mexico, to a moment that would forever change our perception of the night sky. We're talking about the Roswell Incident of 1947, an event that became the cornerstone of modern UFO mythology and continues to spark debate, speculation, and wonder even today. What really happened out there in the desert? A weather balloon, a top-secret military project, or something ... not of this world. Let's sift through the evidence, the stories, and the legacy of the most famous UFO case in history. It all began in July of 1947. Imagine the scene, a small, unassuming town called Roswell. On the night of July 2nd, reports started trickling in about a strange glowing object streaking across the sky. Eyewitnesses described a disc-shaped craft moving at incredible speed. And then, silence. The next morning, a local rancher named William Mac Brazel was riding out to check on his sheep after the previous night's thunderstorm. What he found scattered across a huge area of his property was anything but ordinary. It wasn't wood, metal, or anything he recognized. He described strips of a tough, rubber-like material, strange bits of foil that would unfold itself without a single crease, and I-beams with peculiar hieroglyphic-like markings. He even found a lightweight material that was impossible to burn or even dent with a sledgehammer. At first, Mac didn't think too much of it. It was weird, sure, but he just collected some of the debris and went about his business. However, a few days later, he heard rumors swirling around town about flying saucers. Suddenly, his strange discovery seemed a lot more significant. He decided to report it to the local sheriff, George Wilcox, who, in turn, felt this was something the military needed to see. He contacted the nearby Roswell Army Airfield, home of the 509th Bombardment Group, the only atomic bomb-equipped squadron in the world at the time. This was not a backwater post. This was the cutting edge of American military power. And this is where the story truly explodes. The intelligence officer, Major Jesse Marcel, was sent to investigate. He examined the debris with Mac Brazel and was reportedly baffled. He brought some of it back to the base, and on July 8, 1947, the Roswell Army Airfield issued a press release that would become legendary. It stated, and I quote, "The many rumors regarding the flying disc became a reality yesterday when the intelligence office of the 509th Bomb Group was fortunate enough to gain possession of a disc." Can you imagine the pandemonium? The headlines went wild. RAAF captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region. For a brief moment, it seemed the world was on the verge of its greatest ever revelation. But then, just as quickly as it began, the story was shut down. The very next day, the military held a press conference. The commanding general, Roger Ramey, displayed some debris for the cameras, claiming it was all a big misunderstanding. He explained that the material was simply the remains of a standard weather balloon with a radar reflector. Major Marcel was even ordered to pose for photos with this new debris, his face telling a story of confusion and perhaps even disappointment. The official story was set. It was a weather balloon, and nothing more. The press was corrected, the public was placated, and the Roswell incident, it seemed, was closed. For a while, the story faded into the background, a quirky little piece of local lore. But the truth, as they say, has a way of resurfacing. The Roswell story lay dormant for about 30 years. Then, in the late 1970s, things took a dramatic turn. The key figure in the original investigation, Major Jesse Marcel, finally broke his long silence. Now retired, he gave an interview claiming that the weather balloon story was a complete fabrication, a cover-up. He insisted that the material he had handled was like nothing he had ever seen before or since it was truly extraterrestrial. He said, "It was not anything from this earth that I'm pretty sure of." This bombshell interview, particularly one published in the National Enquirer in 1980, single-handedly reignited the Roswell flame. It transformed a forgotten news blip into the holy grail of ufology. Suddenly, other witnesses started coming forward, people who had been too intimidated to speak for decades. They told stories that went far beyond just strange debris. Some claimed to have seen the craft itself, a sleek, damaged vehicle. Others spoke of a second crash site. And most chillingly, witnesses like Mortician Glenn, Dennis, and former Sheriff Wilcox's family members told stories of seeing small, non-human bodies being recovered from the wreckage and transported in children's caskets. The narrative grew darker and more complex, painting a picture of a massive military operation to recover an alien craft and its crew, followed by a campaign of intimidation to ensure the silence of everyone involved. The peak of this renewed frenzy came in the 90s with the broadcast of the infamous Alien Autopsy film, purportedly a top-secret military film from 1947. It showed doctors dissecting a bizarre, humanoid creature supposedly recovered from the Roswell crash. The footage was a global sensation. Was this the smoking gun? The undeniable proof? Well, no. It was eventually exposed as an elaborate hoax, created by a British film producer. But here's the fascinating part. Even after being debunked, the film didn't kill the Roswell myth. For many, it only deepened the mystery, proving that people were willing to go to great lengths to either expose or obscure the truth. The debunking of the film didn't change the original eyewitness accounts from 1947. Faced with mounting public pressure and endless conspiracy theories, the U.S. Air Force decided to declassify more information. In 1994, they released a comprehensive report titled The Roswell Report: Fact versus Fiction in the New Mexico Desert. This report offered a new official explanation. It wasn't a standard weather balloon. It was something far more secret. The debris, they claimed, came from Project Mogul. This was a top-secret Cold War program that used high-altitude balloons equipped with sensitive acoustic sensors to try and detect sound waves from Soviet atomic bomb tests. The strange materials Mac Brazel found the foil. The tape with symbols were supposedly consistent with the components of these Mogul balloon arrays. The explanation made sense in the context of the Cold War. It explained the secrecy, the initial confusion, and the cover-up. It was a secret project, just not an alien one. But for the believers, this was just another layer of the cover-up. They argued that the Project Mogul story was a convenient and plausible explanation designed to finally put the UFO theory to rest. They point to the eyewitness accounts of bodies, the testimony of high-ranking officers like Marcel, and the inconsistencies in the Air Force's own changing stories over the years. Skeptics, on the other hand, argue that the most compelling evidence, especially about alien bodies, only emerged 30 to 40 years after the event. They suggest that memories can be fallible, stories can be embellished, and that people were likely influenced by the growing UFO craze that they themselves helped to create. It's a classic battle between extraordinary claims and official explanations. Regardless of what you believe, the cultural impact of the Roswell incident is undeniable. It has become a modern legend, a foundational myth for our technological age. It has inspired countless books, movies like Independence Day, and TV shows like The X-Files. And of course, Roswell. The city of Roswell itself has transformed from a sleepy town into a global tourist destination for UFO enthusiasts. Complete with alien-themed museums, festivals, and even a UFO-shaped McDonald's. The word Roswell is now instantly recognizable worldwide as a synonym for UFOs, government conspiracies, and the ultimate mystery. So, why, after all these decades, does this story still hold such a powerful grip on our imagination? I think it's because the Roswell incident touches on some of our deepest questions. Are we alone in the universe? Can we trust our governments to tell us the truth? It represents the thrilling and terrifying possibility that the world is far stranger and more mysterious than it appears. The narrative: a crashed ship, recovered bodies, a massive cover-up, is the perfect template for a modern-day fairy tale. Whether it was a weather balloon, a secret spy project, or a genuine extraterrestrial craft, the event created a story that is simply too good to let go of. It leaves us with that tantalizing feeling that even when all the facts seem to be laid out, there's still something we don't know, a piece of the puzzle that remains hidden just out of sight. And perhaps, that's where the magic truly lies. What do you think really crashed in the New Mexico desert in 1947? Let me know your theories down in the comments. I'd love to read them. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of history's greatest mysteries, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content like this. We'll see you in the next one.